Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to talk about composition so you can take good photographs that have good composition that you'll use in your painting. This first part is review. I'll go through it really fast. But a reminder, there is closed composition and open composition. Open composition, the items are cut off the edge. It's going to be hard for you to do closed composition because unless you create a still life where the surroundings are pretty open, you're probably going to want to only take a photo and paint a section of your composition, and that section will be called an open composition. A reminder that the rule of thirds works really well. That means something off to the side rather than right in the middle. We have a tendency to put our favorite things or the biggest thing right in the middle, and just a reminder to try to scoot it off to the side. Here's another example of that. Leading lines are just edges that bring you to where you want the viewer to look. So because you're in charge of this composition, if something is leading your eye, when you take a photo and you see that things are leading your eye outside of the edge of the photo, you can move it to lead your eye right back in to the photo. So things like feathers, sticks, any ribbon, anything like that is good to kind of use to lead your eye into the piece. So really pay attention to edges of the pieces of the still life, and are they bringing into the photo or out of the photo? Odd number of elements, so instead of having 4 objects, having 3 objects or 5 objects works better in the photograph. If those objects are arranged in a triangle-like shape, that also can create a good composition. Not required, but it's an option. Remember that you don't want tangents, so just anything that it looks like it's kissing, you don't want that. So you want either hugging or they are far away from each other. So either they don't like each other or they're hugging, no kissing. Okay, here's another example of this. You can pause this anytime you want to look at anything more. Okay, balance. So this is the new information, balance. We want our images to feel balanced. So when you're taking a photograph, think about value and color. If there's a dark color or a really bright color, it's going to take more space. So we see that here than a subtle color. So more space, there's a lot of contrast either in color or value. So we can see that here. This yellow is super bright, so you can look at my cursor. It's super bright. There's a lot of information going on here. Lines, contrast with the dark figure shapes to balance out all this yellow. Okay. You can also see here that this gets pretty heavy, and even though the yellow is balancing out, it needs just a tad bit of lines up here to kind of balance this side out. So the yellow does it, but with a little bit more. Here is a pretty basic image, but you can see that red dot is all it needs to balance all this out over here. So bright colors really take up a lot of space. You can see this here too. In this black and white image, it doesn't feel that balanced. But when it's in color, that red, that really bright red, gives it a lot of weight because our eye is attracted to the red. We can see that here too. So if we pretend when we look at a painting, we kind of orientate ourselves right down the middle where we're standing. So if this is the middle of the painting, we want the right side, or our right side, and our left side to feel balanced with each other. Right now this image is balanced. Why is that? Because there's this bright red dress right here, and that is balanced by a lot of light colors. So much more light than there is red, but then there's little tads of red in the lips and the cheeks and the hair that kind of also balances out the red dress. Another thing is complicated contours, like this shape here. It takes more space, or it's not space but heaviness, feeling heavy, visual space, than something that is a plain shape. So complicated shapes take more space. You can see that here. So there's this big area in the back. This is heavier on this side, so it's heavier on this side. Over here, the shapes are more complicated, and that helps balance out all of this red area. All right, texture and pattern. Texture or pattern also take up more space. Or visual weight. So right here, this texture is a lot heavier than this area right here. We can see that here. The volcano is flat and it doesn't take up much space. Visual weight, sorry. The red is pretty strong though, so that red needs a lot to balance it out. And to do that, it's all of the pattern of the clouds and all of the texture down here. So all of that needs this bright red to balance it out, or you could think of it as the red being balanced out by all of this. Okay, so you also want to use color to unify. It says painting in here, but right now we're just working on the still life. So if you have yellow on the right side of your still life, you want yellow on the left side. So pick objects where you can kind of spread the color out. And you can see that in this painting, we have yellow here, some pinks and purples over here, some pinks and purples and reds over here. So your eye kind of unifies, those colors help unify the image. Here is some composition considerations. I'm not going to go through them all. If you want to pause this and read it, you can. And that is it. Okay, I'm going to stop now.